So I'm going to start this video in Acts chapter 4, verse 1 to 13. It's a long chapter, so I'm just going to sum it up with Peter and John were preaching to people, and the Sadducees and the high priest and the prison guards, they got upset about this because they weren't preaching Jewish doctrine. And so they got upset. They seized Peter and John, threw them in prison. After a day, they threatened them and said, "Stop preaching this gospel." But they weren't going to stop preaching this gospel. The Sadducees and the high priest, they seen that these men were ordinary men, people, but they could tell that they have been with Jesus. They were reflecting God's image. They were acting and walking like Jesus. So my question for you is, can people tell you've been with Jesus? Can people see the fruit that God is bearing in your life, that you're reflecting the image of God, that you are being holy because He is holy? Because when you're walking with God and you're walking in the Spirit, not in religion, you are going to reflect the image of God. You are going to reflect and walk in the same power as God, because Jesus said, "These things you shall do plus more." So you shall cast out demons. You shall heal the sick. You shall raise the dead. You shall heal people. You shall do all these things by the Spirit of God that lived inside of Jesus, that Spirit that Jesus was walking in. And we can walk in that same Spirit. That's what will make us look like Jesus and reflect the image of God, is when we choose to deny our flesh. When our flesh wants to go out and party or do these bad things, that we deny our flesh, that we take up our cross and that we follow God. Paul said that I die daily. He dies daily to the flesh to make his spirit stronger. Because this Christian walk is hard. This Christian walk is dying to yourself, taking up your cross and following God. And the reason why Peter and John were walking in such power is not because they were given a greater anointing than you. Because you have the same anointing in you that Paul and Peter and John, all of them had. You have the same anointing. You have the living God. You have God's Spirit living on the inside of you, empowering you to do the things of God, to live out the calling and the will of God that He has placed on you. It's just up for you to step out of your flesh and walk in the Spirit, just like Peter and John did. Peter and John denied their flesh. Their flesh probably didn't want to go up and preach to the people because they knew that they was going to get hated for it. But they still went out and preached. They still went out and preached the word. They denied their flesh, took up their cross and followed God, because it says whoever is not willing to do that is not willing to be my disciple. Jesus said, "Whoever loves me, they will obey my commandments." So this video, I just want to challenge you that, are you reflecting the image of God? Can people tell that you have been with Jesus? Because a person that's been with Jesus is just not a person that goes to church and sometimes reads their Bible. A person that's been with Jesus is a person that daily walks in a relationship with God, that reflects the image of God, that chooses to walk in the Spirit instead of their flesh.